So next we're going to be mixing the primary colors and blending them together to get this wheel. And we're only going to be using red, yellow, and blue, but we are back with our pastel. So again, you want to make sure that your hands are clean and that you have a paper towel handy for you. I like to keep the same one for a while, maybe unfold it and fold it again, just so we don't waste. And so we'll be doing that and then making a neutral mix together. So first we want to start on a clean sheet of paper. And notice I like to have these bars, the wires, a little bit higher than me, so I don't really put it on the side because then I don't really want to be knocking into it, but it doesn't matter, whatever is most comfortable for you. Again, we want our sleeves to be pulled up, and we're going to start by labeling. So this is our primary color blending. And this exercise is to show you that the primary colors, when you blend them together, do make the secondary and tertiary colors, and more. And then please put today's date right here. All right, so first I want to name my primary colors. So my primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And so from our set here, I'm going to just preemptively grab those. So red, yellow, and blue. Now your pastels might still be in a singular piece. They just break off sometimes. These ones are very soft. Notice that I grabbed the darker blue and not the lighter one. I'm just gonna make a little mark so I know what these colors look like, because sometimes the reds and the blues can look a little bit different depending on the brand of pastels and the brand of colors that you're using at any particular time. And so we're going to blend these three together, and I'm really just going to forget about the other colors for now. And theoretically, I can't make these colors with any other colors, at least not from the color wheel. They kind of just exist and they have to be made on their own. But I can make the secondary colors, orange, green, and violet with them, and all the tertiary colors, those ones with two names as well. And so I'm going to show you that in a wheel formation. And so to start our wheel, I like to start with a big circle in the center. So leave enough room on the edges that you still can add some stuff to it. So just make a circle a couple of passes. Again, doesn't really need to be perfect. Next, you're going to take your yellow and just kind of clean it off if it needs to be cleaned off. And you're going to go color the top half of this circle, kind of like when you give a stick figure hair in kindergarten, or now, because some people still do that now. And I want to say there's nothing wrong with that, but this does look a little funky. So I'm really using the side of it just to make it a little bit thicker. If you make it a thin line, this will still work, but it looks a little bit prettier and it gets a lot wider if you do that. So again, just dealing with the top half. And when I want to get rid of my pastels, I'm not going to wipe them away. I'm just going to give them a quick breath. My breath is very strong. Anyways, so now I'm going to take my red and I'm going to fill about a third of this up, but I'm going to start at the bottom here. So I'm going to take this red to about there. And then towards the edges, I'm going to fade it out into the yellow a little bit. So clean that off, and on the other side, just fade a little. So not dramatically, I'm not trying to go all the way. Lastly, you want to take your blue and fill out those empty spaces, and again, you're going to taper off towards the ends. So take my blue, I'm just kind of going back and forth so it's a little more saturated, have more color on it. I'm going to go that way so it kind of melts into my red, clean that off, and then have it melt the other direction into the yellow. I'm not going to go too far with that. I'm pretty much done with those, so I'm just going to put them off to the side for now, and if I need them, I'll grab them later. So again, you want to clear off your hands. They might look a little bit stained, but for the most part, they should be fine. So you want to start at the yellow, again, because this is the lightest. I don't really want it to get darkened by anything extra that it doesn't need to be. So in order to have a pure yellow, I'm going to start in the middle, and I'm going to rub it in circular motions. I'm going to be careful to avoid those so I don't really get that color added. And I'm going to slowly start to approach my red. So I just go back and forth kind of lightly, and I might switch the direction of my fingers. I'm going to go back and forth, kind of like I'm massaging the red slowly into the yellow, and vice versa. So I'm going to go one way, and then kind of lightly drag it up to the next. Right, I'm going to stop right when I get to the red. So I really want to not keep going so that I can clean off my finger now, because there is quite a bit of yellow on it, and there's none on this side, so I want to get rid of it. So, mostly cleaned, a little stained, but should be fine. I'll switch fingers anyway. So I went from yellow into the red because I like to start from light to dark. I'm going to go the other direction now and do the same thing. So I'm going to move my finger in a circular motion, and I'm going to slowly incorporate some of the blue into it. And you'll get some really nice light green colors at the beginning. So notice that I'm going kind of back and forth, really slowly approaching it. And I'll switch directions every now and then. So slowly incorporating my blue into my yellow and vice versa. So I'm really hardly touching over here because I don't want this to get very green. And I'm going to stop right about where the middle of the blue is. And try to address any areas that aren't totally smooth. Like right here it has a sudden change, so I'm just going to go in between them like that to blend it out. So we have most of our color wheel done. It's just going to make these violets now. And since red is lighter, I'm going to start with my red and then go to blue. So again, a nice clean off. Start in the middle of my red where I left off. And switch directions to get to my blues and violets. Alright, so if you notice, your color wheel is kind of the same as when we did the color wheel, so things should be the opposite of each other. So blue and orange, red and green, and then yellow and violet. And so if some of those things are off, then I'm going to adjust them, but I'm still only going to be using my primary colors. So the red is just a little bit light, so I'm going to add some more anyways. And same with my blue. I don't really want to add more yellow, looks pretty good up there. But definitely my blues, I can move over a little bit. And hopefully I'll get some more vibrant violets in there. So again, start from lighter, maybe I can go up there just a second. If it turns kind of orange, then I'll clean that off. And there we go. Those are a lot nicer now. So sometimes it's just adding another layer. Clean that off so I can switch into my greens. I'm trying to be even with both sides so it makes really nice even circle. If you want to go in with your yellows again just to make them as bright, then you can. Let's clean them up. And I'll balance that out. So, nice, super saturated, bright yellow. So, you have a beautiful, blurry color wheel now. And that proves that red does make orange when mixed with yellow, yellow and blue will make green, and blue and red will make some violets. Now they might not be as bright as the ones that are pre-made for you, and that's totally fine. So the more colors you have, the better off you are, but if worst comes to worst, your primary colors are really all you need. So the last part of this activity is we're going to make a neutral color here. So theoretically, I'm just going to mark that in for you. Neutral mix. Theoretically, if I add all three of the primaries together, I should be able to get black. Now what's actually going to appear is going to look more like a gray or like a brown color. And so I'm going to take these guys back out. And at the bottom, I'm just going to try to mix a circle. Now, honestly, this isn't really going to look like black. I'm going to start with yellow, actually. And that's partially because these colors aren't perfect reds and perfect blues and perfect yellows. They're just a little bit off. I'm told a lot of blue is very necessary for this to work, but I'm going to mix all of those together, maybe grab some of the dust, mix them so they're roughly even. Now, a lot of the other colors are going to kind of appear in layers, which is fine. It will kind of look like someone barfed up Fruity Pebbles, though, just as a general warning. So if it starts to look too blue, then you'll add the other two. If it looks too yellow, then add the other two. So it's all about balancing your primary colors. And really, if I take this and kind of swipe it, you can see that's actually a pretty nice gray. So it really does make a nice neutral tone. And if we worked with a different medium like paint, then you might see it a little bit better. And so that was my neutral mix exercise for now. If the edges are kind of a variety of colors, that's totally fine. But there you have it. Just using the primary colors, you can make a lot of other things. And so that's all we need to do on this page. So thank you.